Okay, so let's have a look at a more complicated example of using a for loop. So we will define a for loop which will be inside a function, and we will also use a conditional statement. So we will basically combine all of the knowledge we have learned so far. So our function will allow us to count a specific letter inside a word. And we will also be able to choose the word we want to count the letters in. So basically, let's have a look. Maybe let's first have a look on how this function works. So, for instance, if I have a word giraffe and I count letter F, I should get 2. If I count how many times letter A is present in the word giraffe, I should get 1. And if I choose a letter which is not present in my word, I should get 0. So how do I get this behavior? So basically, when I go into this function, I first define the variable count, which hopefully at the end I hope to for this variable to have the value of how many times I've seen the letter of interest. So at the beginning I haven't seen any letters of the word. I know nothing about the word, so at the beginning my count is 0. I haven't seen the letter of interest even once. And then what I have to do, I have to use a for loop. How do I do it, and why do I have to do it? Well, because I want to count letters in a word, in the word which was specified here as an argument. So I want to go through this word letter by letter and increase the count if this is the letter of interest for me. So I define a for loop, and I define it in such a way. I create a variable which is called letter, and I tell Python that this variable which will take values which will be equal to elements from this variable. This variable is a word, so this variable will be letters from this word. So if this word is giraffe, as in the example here, the variable letter first will be equal to G, then it will be equal to I, then to R, A, F, F, E, right? Okay, so we have this variable letter, which is equal to next elements of my word, and then I have to determine what to do with the count. So what do I want to do? Well, I want to increase the count, but only if the letter, if the current letter of the word, so for instance, at the third iteration we will be at the letter R, is equal to the letter to count, so the letter I specified as a second argument to my function. So let's have a look how it would work in this case, in the case of this example. First, my letter is G. So I check if letter G is equal to letter to count F. Well, it's not, so Python does not execute this code. It goes back to the beginning and changes the letter to the next element. So now my letter is equal to I. Okay, Python goes here and again executes this code. It checks if I is equal to a letter to count F. No, it isn't. Python skips this code. He executed all of the code which is inside the loop, goes to the beginning again and changes the letter to the next letter. Next letter is R. Again, R is not equal to F. Skip this code. My count is still 0. Next letter A, again not equal to F, skip this code, go back to the beginning. Next letter is F, so we go here. Yes, F is equal to F, so Python execute this code. Count was 0, increase count by 1, and save it as count. So now count is 1. Again, go back to the end. Why? Because the word has not been finished. So next letter is F. Again, we go here. F is equal to F. Count 1 plus 1, 2. Go back to the beginning. Last letter, E. E is not equal to F. Skip this code. And now we have gone through the entire word here, entire iterable here. So Python finishes the loop, and only then, when the Python has gone through all of the elements of this iterable here, in our case it's word, Python starts to execute the code which is farther down. So there is not much left to do. Count is already 2, the letters have been counted, so the only thing left for us to do is to return the current count. And yeah, this is how we can count letters of interest, in our program, in our Word. If you want to see more in detail what happens behind what I have explained just before, we can use print function inside the loop to print what is the current state of our program. So what is happening here, we have expanded the code which is inside the loop, which as always in Python is denoted, the code which is inside the loop is the code which is indented by the same value. So here all of this code is indented by 4 spaces. This one is more indented because it's a part of this if statement, but it's still a part of this for loop. So basically Python still counts the letters, but we also ask it to first print 10 stars. This is just to for us to have an easier way to see when a specific iteration was happening. And then we ask Python to print the current letter, so the current value of this variable, and then print the current count. So if I define this function and run it, we can see that the first letter is H from the word hello. Count is 0 because H is not equal to the letter of interest, so L. Second letter is E, count is still 0. Third letter is L, this is the letter of interest, so count increases by 1. Fourth letter is L again, so count increases by 1 again, and we have 2. Final letter is O, so the count stays as it was, the count is 2, and in the end the function returns 2, and that is why we see 2 here. So I hope now it makes sense, like it wraps up all of the things we have said so far, how to use for loops, why they are useful, how can we accomplish quite sophisticated behavior using for loops, and also you had an opportunity to see why print function can be useful to understand how the program or how a specific function works inside, and get a better understanding of that. So in the next video we will dive into in more detail into iterables, see some other examples, and then we will learn about another loop which is called a while loop. So see you there, and thank you for your attention.